how do you implement authentication in an API gateway?
Let's continue. So there are few more things we have to understand about API gateways is how to do the authentication and authorization over your APIs. Otherwise, anyone in the world would be able to access them, which we don't want, obviously. So we can do authentication with IAM as well for APIs, but this level of authentication would be only for internal applications. So if you have any other EC2 server which has to connect to your API gateway or has to do a call to your API gateway, then you can use IAM roles and policies to control the access. But this kind of authentication would be limited to the internal applications that we have in our AWS account. So for external users, you won't be able to use this, or you should not use this kind of authentication. For that, to control the external users, we basically have two options. So you can either use Cognito service, which is provided and managed by AWS. So you can create Cognito user pools in which you would be able to create users, manage their passwords. So we will have a separate session on AWS Cognito, but this is a service which is used to do user management basically. So you can manage your user, do their authentication, send them emails using Cognito to verify their identity. So Cognito can directly integrate with our API gateway, and we would be able to do authentication using the Cognito. And the third option is to create your own authentication server and do the authentication that way. So to understand this, the user has to connect to API gateway, but he needs some kind of authentication. So user will connect to our custom server which we have created for authentication, and it will provide it with the authentication token. Okay, so now when user is sending the request to API gateway, it will send the request with OAuth token to our API, and that token will be sent to a Lambda function. So you need to create a separate Lambda function to do this kind of authentication, and then that token will be forwarded to our authentication server,